A far-right movement claims the eclipse is a sign of the end of days. Why these seemingly fringe beliefs are more ominous than you think. 'Cause they're true! I am putting this up. By the time you're watching this, you may already be watching the eclipse, depending on where you are in the United States. I believe by the time you're seeing this in Texas, you will already be in the eclipse. For us, I'm putting this video up at 1 p.m. on the 8th. So we're still a couple hours away on the East Coast and the D.C. area from the eclipse. But the conspiracies are running wild, so of course, let's roll with it. In this special, there is an eclipse again, and they happen quite a bit. And for some reason, people think it's the end of days story. Let's talk about the far-right claims. I love how it's got to be far-right. Like, there's no leftist, religious, spiritual, or conspiracy. It's always right-wing, always. Okay. All right, Toronto Star, tell us what's really going on. And then, my friends, I got bad news for you. The plagues have returned. And the next few, that's where it gets bad. And we may be at one of the last plagues. Of course, the last being the death of the firstborn son. I'm kidding, by the way. Calm down, Media Matters. All right. So, the Toronto Star, one sign, and if you find the right corner of the internet, there are many, many signs, is that Monday's total eclipse passed over a city with a portentous name, Rapture, Indiana. Okay, I don't really care about what this lady has to say. But we do have this from USA Today. The eclipse is upon us, and so are the conspiracies. It's possible, even good, to enjoy it. All right, well, solar eclipse conspiracies are here we go. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, God is sending America strong signs to tell us to repent. Earthquakes and eclipses and many more things to come. I pray our country listens. The context is there are approximately 1,700 earthquakes in the U.S. every year, about 4 per day. Solar eclipses occur approximately every 18 months and are able to be predicted well in advance. And there's a list of future eclipses and where they can be viewed. This is the funny thing about the eclipse. There are people who chase eclipses because you can travel faster than the eclipses happen. And actually, let's see if we can pull up the list of future eclipses. You look at this. You go up to 2,100. So you can actually just... Okay, I think it's stupid they're doing it by state. We don't need to do that. Is that how they're really doing it? What I'd like to do is by time. 2000 to 2050. So let's see. We're on October 14th, 2023. April 8th, 2024. That's where we're currently at. And so, really, is it the... Wow, I guess they are a bit more rare than I thought. But if you were to go to October with the annular eclipse... So annular is when the moon is a little further away, so it doesn't completely cover out every part of the sun. There's a bigger ring around it. And then now we're getting the total eclipse. I suppose why people are freaking out is because the last one was 2017, and the last total eclipse was 1991. It's kind of crazy, actually, if you think about it. Well, okay, look at this. The next eclipse will be a total eclipse and March 30th, 2033. So a bit more rare than I initially thought. But I know that there are people who travel around the world every time an eclipse is coming, and they go check it out. Then an annular 2039, a total in 2044. So I suppose they are more rare. I'll stress that again than I actually initially thought. And we've got a couple more total coming up 2025. And so we can actually predict these things. That being said, it's 2024 and there's wild stuff happening in the U.S. And now we have this eclipse and it goes right over Eagle Pass. That's basically, Eagle Pass is where all the migrants are storming the country. And the eclipse, the total eclipse goes right over there. So certainly people are freaking out. Only in America could a total solar eclipse usher in the apocalypse and simultaneously influence an election. Almost every generation believes they are living in the end of day. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. Either way, there's no way of knowing if we are barreling into Armageddon or just might experience a blackened sky for a moment. Although the latter seems 99.9% the most likely scenario, we know for a certain we don't know the certain future. This is the root of chaos and concern. The rarity and almost inconceivable nature of events like a total solar eclipse leaves human beings feeling small, helpless, and slightly afraid of the unknown. Without the sun, our only source of natural light, heat, and energy, could something bad happen? Okay, people are saying it's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And when was that? It was 2017, right, as a total eclipse. Yeah, I saw that. Let me check this one. Are they going to have a solar eclipse? Look at that picture. That is awesome. You can see the moon right over the sun. Super cool. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I was in St. Louis, I think, for this. So I don't know. I'm kind of like, this is like my third eclipse, I think. There was a total eclipse. There was one night. I remember the eclipse in 1991. I was a real little kid. And then we had the annular eclipse. Yeah. The eclipse in 91. Yeah, I don't think, like, we got a little bit of, right? I was in Chicago. And then where was here we go. I remember this one. May 10th, 94. I think I remember this one. Because, yeah, that went right over Chicago. That was a big deal for us. Look at that. That's cool. Oh, this is cool. It actually tracks it. That's pretty cool. So I don't, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like went right over Chicago. That's cool. Anyway, is it the end of the days? Let's stop wasting your time. Donnie Darkin says, Donnie Darkin, for those who don't know, is this account that claims it is possible that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. In the light of the upcoming solar eclipse, which many people are likening to the sign of Jonah, it's important for us believers to discern the nature of the signs and seek wisdom in Scripture. While the parallels are fascinating, Jesus' words in Matthew 12:39 serve as a timely reminder. A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, but no sign will be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. The sign of Jonah, as explained by Christ himself, is not about seeking signs in the heavens on earth, but points us towards the truth of salvation and redemption. Jonah's ordeal, 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a great fish, was a precursor to a far greater miracle. Jesus explicitly connects this event with his own death, burial, and resurrection, stating, "For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." This prophetic sign was fulfilled in Jesus' resurrection, which is central to our faith and the cornerstone of our hope. This fulfillment demonstrates that the greatest sign has already been given and witnessed. So as we observe the wonders of creation, like the coming solar eclipse, we should be reminded of the Creator's majesty and power. But let's not be swayed into looking for heavenly signs, as I've also been guilty of doing. The book of Hebrews reminds us that in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son. As I said, I myself have been guilty of doing this in the past, but I don't think it's a coincidence that many of the Great Awakening proponents are pointing to the eclipse as symbolic of the reawakening of America and a coming age of peace and safety. So let's not be like the Ninevites, who needed a sign to repent, but rather be a people who live by faith in the Son of God, who loved us and gave himself for us. Our focus will remain on the message of the gospel, the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ as the foundation of our faith and the source of our hope. Now I'm going to pause right there and just say to all of you, my friends, I am not a Christian. I do believe in God. I think you always have to make the distinction. For some reason, people think I'm an atheist. I don't get it. I've not been an atheist for 20 some odd years, and there were only a few years when I was. To be fair, when I was a little child, I don't think I quite understood the concept of God and faith and spirituality and life or anything like that anyway. And so as I became a teenager, I started questioning these things, and I would say, I don't even know if atheist is the right word, because even at a young age, I didn't really understand anything. And then I read books on science and faith. I read a bit more about Christianity and more so physics. And my Christian upbringing, went to Catholic school, combined with my reading of physics, gave me this perspective. And ultimately, around the age of 18, I was working at O'Hare. I was kind of like, I think the reasonable conclusion is, or at least probability dictates, the existence of some kind of God, whatever form that may take, beyond our comprehension, I think the easiest way to explain it. I can't speak for anything of this world, and that's why I'm not a Christian. I don't know about no books. Y'all have faith. I respect that. I'm not there. But what I do like about this post is to whittle it down. Instead of looking for great signs, instead of looking to the heavens and seeing the moon cover the sun and then going, this is it, just be good people. For those that follow the word of Christ, I think he makes a great point here. Follow the word of Christ. You don't need an eclipse to tell you when to be a good person. And I agree with that, even outside of the Christian context. Not to speak for anybody. I mean, if y'all are Christian, you do as Christians do. For me, I would say morally and ethically, we don't need to look for great signs as to the end of days to inspire us, to cause fear. We should be whole within ourselves that we are good and have done good, and we fear nothing. If there is some afterlife, and you will be judged, many of you may be worried. Have I done good? You need not be worried. Just do good and have faith. And I think this is true for anybody who is agnostic, Although I think atheists, I don't quite understand. Atheism is too absolute for me. It was even a challenge for me as a teenager. I think atheist was more so a buzzword. I think agnostic made the most sense of just, I don't know. And before like even up until before I was 18, like when I was probably like 15 or 16, I was like listening to punk rock. I'm like an atheist. And then like 17 and into 18, I was like more agnostic. I mean, my mind was more open to, I really don't know, do I? And the problem I had with people who said they were atheists was that they were saying, I don't believe there is a God. And I'm like, okay, I don't know one way or the other. It is beyond our comprehension. Certainly the universe exists. Certainly there are limitations to what our minds can comprehend. And the universe is vastly larger than us, for we are but specks on the nards of a mosquito in the grand scheme of things. And so how could I possibly know? Atheists, to me, assert too much to be true. Atheism without theism, typically meaning without God. And my issue then becomes for many atheists is that those that I've talked to, not all of them, make the presumption that God is like a dude. He's like some guy. And they think, how could some guy do this? I'm like, well, hold on. First of all, that's more of an anti-Christian perspective. If Christians are to say that we are created in the image of God, then perhaps your limited understanding of their faith leads you to believe there is a dude sitting in the clouds. I certainly don't believe that is what Christians believe. At least, when I went to Catholic school, that is not what we were told. We were told that we're made in the image of God, but that God would be beyond our comprehension. And that was just, why would you, as just a small creation of the Lord, be able to conceive of his greatness? You may be able to witness certain things or be given messages. But we are but humble, small beings on this planet. And it's fascinating, too, because I've had atheists say that we are but wet robots. And I'm like, then why would you, our computers today can barely conceive of what our minds conceive of. And we created them. So why should you assume as the creation or something on this planet would be able to conceive of anything greater than you? And because you can't conceive it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We know that the charged electromagnetic spectrum exists. We use it every single day. We have radio, cell phones, and we can't see it. It's but magic. And so, anyway, I don't think you need to go back. You don't need to worry if you're a good person. I do think it's always fair to question if you've done enough, if you're good enough. That's fine. But I like this message, right? If you are concerned about what comes after all of this, live your life to the best of your abilities. And my recommendation is always to help creation and not destruction. Now, there certainly could be creation and destruction is not all bad. Yin yang, right? But typically, I believe that we are here on this earth to help organize, to create, to build, to construct, to advance. That is, we make more things. We organize more things. We take the chaos of the universe and we compress it into fine order. We create words. We create abstraction. We are negative entropy. Perhaps we are weaker and will always lose out to the greater force of entropy. But we as negative forces perhaps could one day overcome, defying what many view as a fundamental law of physics. I don't know. Maybe not. But I think we should be agents of creation. Sometimes in order to create or to preserve creation, destruction is warranted. If there is an element of some sort that is destroying things around it, we must destroy that element, correct? So if there is a criminal who is wreaking havoc on a community, which is causing suffering, we arrest that criminal and put them away to stop the destruction. Now, that in essence destroys what this person is doing freely, but what they were doing was causing more harm. You see what I mean? But now on to the conspiracies, because the eclipse is upon us, my friends, and I bring to you the plagues of Egypt for fun. I hope you enjoy this whimsical, or I don't know, maybe some people are going to freak out, turning water into blood. Now, certainly there's no been turning water into blood here. Now, hold on. Perhaps it's a metaphor. Perhaps the Rio Grande, with the lives that are lost in this river from those who are storming into this country, the children who have died. Perhaps that is turning the water to blood. A metaphor, as it were. Well, in Exodus, it says, "By this you will know that I am the Lord. With the staff that is in my hands, I will strike the water of the Nile, and it will be changed into blood. The fish in the Nile will die, and the river will sink, and the Egyptians will not be able to drink its water." Okay. Well, nothing like that's happened to the Rio Grande. But wait, what's this? It's a river turned blood red. The blood-colored stream at the Perry Common Meadows in Birmingham. A member of the public spotted the strange occurrence Wednesday January 24th. So it's happened somewhere. And this, I believe, is January of this year. So, okay, all right. It's not the river. It's not the Nile. But we're not talking about the plagues being in Egypt this time. It's the other. It's now. It's the whole world, right? All right. So, okay. Here we go. We got blood. We got blood in the river. Frogs. Oh, certainly there are no frogs. What's this? Georgia hit with infestation of cannibal Cuban tree frogs. As official urges residents to kill invasive species. No. Oh, no. A plague of frogs in Georgia. So hold on. If we play the metaphor game and say the Rio Grande has been plagued by blood because of the people who have died in it and the coming conflict and the frogs, the American South ain't looking too good. And that eclipse is going right over it. Okay, what's this, lice or gnats? No. Hey, no, nothing about lice or gnats. What's this? School nurses asked to be vigilant as head lice on the rise. Okay. Well, to be fair, this is in England. So, like the blood, this one's also in England. And to be honest, I didn't find any sources of any head lice in the American South, so the fun is starting to break. But hold on. Pestilence. Oh, no. Wild animals or flies. Now, this one you may know. The fourth plague. The dual instance cicadas are coming. And so this actually can accomplish many of the different plagues. Lice or gnats and locusts, but whatever. Pestilence of livestock. Here we go. Grandmother suddenly dies of rare brain disease with 100% fatality rate and no cure. That's right. Mad cow disease. Now, but don't they mean of the livestock? Okay. Why are prion diseases on the rise? So this is mad cow disease. This is a prion disease, and it's on the rise. Okay, well, that's worrying. Boils. Well, I don't know about no boils, but leprosy cases are rising in the U.S., so there's that. Thunderstorms of hail and fire. Here's one. Insurance news. Carriers must act now to tackle alarming rise in hailstorm losses. Heavens me. Locusts, I mentioned the cicadas, right? There we go. 3 days of darkness. Well, of course, as we know, in the Bible, the word day is a metaphor. Okay? It's a metaphor. Because certainly the Lord did not create the universe in 7 days. They say that a day is translated to mean a period of time. It took 7 individual, or I should say 6 increments of time, and on the 7th day, he rested. Well, in that case, in order to make my prophecy sound true, because it literally is not true, and I'm pulling random news sources, let's say 3 days means 3 increments of time. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Not 3 full hours, though. I'm really stretching this one. But it's around 4:30. The eclipse will end here, which is 3 hours. 3 increments of time of darkness. And the last one, now this one's scary. The death of the firstborn son. Okay, we've got nothing like that. Dude, that's the one. Like all of these things, these plagues, could happen within the earthly realm. Water turning to blood. There could be an algal bloom, and there's a high iron density, and red turns the water red. The algal bloom will kill the fish. This can't happen. Frogs. We literally have a frog infestation in Georgia. I mean, this kind of thing could happen. Lice or gnats could be on the rise, and we'd say, look at all these gnats. Now, to be fair, the dust of the ground became lice. So, wild animals or flies. Moses removed the plague and promised to grant the Israelites freedom. The plague was gone. The Bible tells us plagues only came. The various sources use either wild animals or flies. The harming of people and livestock. Passed on. Like these things are all, people get boils. It could be diseases. Thunderstorm of hail and fire. Now, a thunderstorm of hail and fire actually could happen. So if there's a thunderstorm and it's hailing, but there's also a burning forest, you could get like embers. So we're stretching it. Locusts happen. 3 days of darkness in the literal sense, like the sky going dark for 3 days. This is where we're getting outside the earthly realm. But you can make an argument for eclipses or something like this, or 3 days of darkness could literally be forest fires. And the smoke clouds out the sun, and it's dark for 3 days. You see? Now we get to the death of firstborn son. Now, if people's firstborn sons start dropping dead, and like with ubiquity, I think people would drop to their knees and beg and pray. I also don't see that actually happening. I just pulled these up because it was funny because we were talking on Timcast IRL, and I was like, wait, how many plagues have we had so far? Because people are acting like the eclipse is going to be the apocalypse. Nah, it's going to be fun. I hope you all enjoy it. It's not necessarily a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's like a twice-in-a-lifetime thing. And if you want, you can travel around, but it happens rarely. I thought it was more frequent. They were saying, I thought we were reading that it happens once every 18 months or something. But then we have this, where is this? The solar eclipse map actually makes it seem like it's much more rare. I thought that's what it said. What is this? I thought it said every 18 months. Was that here? I thought USA Today, right? Isn't that what we just read? Because that's what I thought. And now I'm looking at this. Was it on this page? Let me make sure real quick. There is an 18 somewhere on this page. I don't know. Okay, it's not popping up. Let's see. Phenomena, preparation, wild conspiracy theories, Wired headline, end of days. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. Where do we read that? I don't know. Let's do, I guess the website doesn't work. I can't search for words. I thought it said 18 months. Whatever. Let the eclipse remind us the universe is filled with wonder. Oh, yeah. Solar eclipses occur. Oh, yeah. Hey, hold on. What is this? Solar eclipses occur approximately every 18 months. What? Really? That's where it was. It was on the tweet. This is what I had read before. I read that it happens, total solar eclipses happen somewhat frequently on Earth, every 18 months on average. They usually happen in spots inconvenient for viewing. That's what I was told. That's what I thought. So what is this? Oh, I see. That was the mistake. You see, this is the mistake I make. This is just a list of 20th century solar eclipses. Just in the United States, that was my mistake. Because I was pretty sure there are people who travel the world tracking the eclipses, and they happen like a lot. So let's do this. You see, we make this mistake. Let's 2013. Wow, yeah, there are a lot of eclipses. So let's do this. 2020. Where is April 2024? Here we go. The next will be an annular eclipse, October 2nd, 2024 in Argentina. March 29th and 2025 will be a partial eclipse in northern Russia. September, a partial eclipse in New Zealand. February 17th, 2026, an annular. Annular, like it does totally cover the sun. It's just smaller. Antarctica. August, you'll get a total eclipse in Portugal. February 27, you'll get an annular in Chile. That's what I thought that was the case. People actually fly around the planet watching and tracking the eclipses for scientific research. So I hope you enjoyed today. I'm going to wrap it up there. Next segment will be at 4 p.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.